I suppose I was very fortunate in my career for 25 years straight to sell over 100 properties every year consecutively, year on year. And I wouldn't say it was because I was the most skilled agent, and I certainly don't say that to impress you, but to impress upon you that I had a system, and it was an impervious fortified system, and I'm going to share that system with you. And frankly, there's a lot of high-performing agents which are my close friends, and I wouldn't call them necessarily the most remarkable people in the world, and that's not disrespectful because they're all good friends of mine. However, what they are outstanding at is priority management, or better known as time management, but I think time management's a bit of a misnomer, right? So there's 168 hours in a week. There's only so many waking hours that you can dedicate to real estate. And I can tell you now, the 20% of agents that earn 80% of income in Australia, which is the accurate statistics, all they do is utilise those waking hours more effectively than the 80%. That's all it comes down to. So you might hear about dollar productivity and teams and delegation and efficiencies and technology. That all is very helpful, especially in real estate. You know, there's been so many attempts to interrupt or disrupt or disintermediate our industry, but all technology's done has reduced days on market for our industry. Because I remember when I first started, you know, in sales, there was no internet, no REA, no domain, no email, right? So you'd call, ring the paper, and then maybe the ad would go in, maybe it wouldn't. Then you'd have to make 100 buy calls proactively from your database or old open houses just to get anyone through the first open for inspection. Then someone would ask for a contract, you'd post it, maybe it would get there, maybe it wouldn't the next day. So yeah, the days on market were a lot longer, but you know, unfortunately for say like the travel industry or other agency-based industries, they've not only been disturbed or interrupted, but somewhat disintermediated altogether. But for us, you look at things like Realtor, real-time agent, you look at REA, domain, everything is just there to help us sell properties more effectively, more efficiently. So you really have to embrace technology. And I think there'll always be a conduit, that human conduit between the buyer and the seller, because it's very difficult. There's no AI, even the AI products that are available today for real estate. And we'll talk a little bit about prospecting and databasing. So the Reader product, for example, I think it's a great product, but I think it's great if there's thousands of people which you're never going to call, and it can create a daily call list for you, for example. But, you know, once you follow my system around what I call task-orientated prospecting, which is using your database effectively and having a conversation when you're nurturing clients, whether they're past clients, whether they're pipelines or past appraisals, there's nothing like having a conversation, making a brief note in your CRM, and humanly, instinctively making a decision whether that's worth a 1-week call or a 7-week call. There's no AI that can do that, right? So, you know, I think products like Reader, for example, are outstanding, but more for orphan data. Through my system, what I'm going to go through is talking about creating your own call list from your own database. And again, this is nothing that I didn't do. So for almost 30 years straight, between 8:30 and 11:30, 5 days a week, non-negotiable, I prospected my database without fail. Now, I don't think there was one day I woke up and actually looked forward to it. But I got to tell you, the 20 minutes into it, when someone said, "Oh, Adrian, I'm really glad you called. We're renovating our kitchen. I'd love to get an appraisal in 3 weeks' time." Great. Notes, renovating kitchen, call, 2 weeks. Revolutionary stuff, right? So no AI needed back then. And yeah, there were CRM systems even back then, but you don't even really need to use your CRM. You can use Microsoft Outlook. So Alex Phillips, who writes $22 million a year, you can't live off that, but it's a good start. He uses Microsoft Outlook as his CRM. So people ask me all the time, what's the best one? I'm like, one that works. So when I first started, it was a card box system, and that worked, right? Then I bought a one called Act from Semantic, which was $25 off the shelf, and that worked because all I was able to do, and all Alex does today, is put people's names in, put notes next every time you speak to them and schedule a follow-up call, and then do an email merge every month to create a newsletter. Revolutionary, right? So you do that, but have conversations with substance, not just, the tick, 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 5, tick, 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 5. And, there's certain trainers that advocate that sort of quickness or volume, 100 calls a day. It's not about that anymore. Our industry started as a cottage-based industry. Then it went very corporate. And guess what? Post-COVID, what happened? We love local, or went back to a cottage-based industry. So what does that mean? Relationships. So a database is just names, numbers, and digits. But relationship starts when you actually start having conversations of substance and start building trust and rapport as a trusted advisor and an area specialist. Yeah?